So you want to become more creative. Specifically, you want to be able to see beyond the obvious, break mindsets, and break out of the box and think outside it. Why not? Very doable. Anybody can do it. But without the big words, what does all this mean? Well, for one thing, it means vision. Ordinary people can see the seeds in the apple. But it takes a visionary, a very creative person to be able to see the apple inside a seed. Not everybody can see the pregnant possibilities. Sometimes the possibilities have to be shown to you. You see, all this gives you several options where earlier you had just one or two. It also gives you several perspectives of the same thing. Some perspectives fit one scenario while others fit other scenarios. Having several perspectives gives you the capability to satisfy several scenarios. Let's take just one example. Most cell phone designers saw it as just a device that facilitates sending messages between two people, or maybe three. So they kept adding functionalities for that purpose. Then some designers saw the cell phone with a different perspective. He saw that at the receiver end, he was able to receive any electronic signal if his cell phone was tuned to that frequency, and they gave us the cell phone with a radio. Then some designers saw it as nothing more than an electronic circuit board able to carry out any command that was embedded in its chip. That gave us the camera and several other functionalities that now come along with cell phones. Then came another interesting perspective that the electronic signal being transmitted by the sender need not necessarily be converted back into voice or text. It can also be used directly to actuate or trigger something. Out came OCM Group in India with the Nano Ganesh. This is a device in which the electronic signal sent by the cell phone of the farmer in his house is received by the electric motor of the irrigation set in his field several kilometers away, and the watering of the fields can now be done from the comfort of his house. You see, all these distinct uses came about not due to some new technology, but merely by seeing the existing with the new eyes. Somehow it takes time to make a connection between technology and how it can meet the needs of a society. Remember how it took centuries after wheels were invented that someone thought of putting them under heavy luggage and whiz around with it? It's all a question of breaking mindsets to generate new options and perspectives. No leader, no innovator can do without it. And why restrict it to leaders and innovators only? Isn't it a basic skill, a basic life skill in the different roles of parents, friends, students, employees, citizens? Which of these categories isn't richer and more powerful with 10 times more options than what they had before? And what is the cost of acquiring this wonderful ability? Nothing other than the humility to accept that, well, you could be wrong. And even if you're right, there are other ways of doing the same thing. In functional terms, this added power comes to you not by purchasing new devices, but simply by changing the lens with which you view the world, your personal lens, I mean. Sometimes lens of different colors, sometimes toggling between a telescope and a microscope, a zoom in or a zoom out. You are concerned with being able to see beyond the obvious. Well, what is obvious? Obvious is what you see, what you are seeing now, your present perspective. So, what is this? The crown of a cock? Or a scene outside your window? Or a scene inside your room? Or a scene of your house? As you see, it's all a matter of perspectives. You change your lens and you change the world. It's all a matter of unblocking.